But that doesn't matter to Candace Owens, aka RedPillBlack. She believes that I and you should be punished for being politically incorrect on the internet.
And then I had this idea that I could sort of create an anti-bullying platform with my experiences happening in high school in mind, and with the idea that it was going to be something that ultimately would help children.
Right,
Naive.
right. And this whole...
Honestly, so again, I built a platform for anti-bullying with children in mind, and I just thought that it wasn't about trying to strip anonymity on the internet. It was about assigning responsibility. So in my head, this is actually how naive my idea was. It was going to sort of be to start this in Connecticut, where I grew up, where this happened to me, where if you could say to children, like, what you see on the internet, and I'm talking about these children that get on and say, die, 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 kill yourself. This is why 11-year-olds are killing themselves over Snapchat. This didn't happen when I was growing up, because Snapchat didn't exist when I was growing up. You could
and homicides are down, but suicides are up among teenagers because everyone's staying home and getting traumatized by text.
Right, exactly. That is exactly right. So that was sort of what my concern was, because what I went through was very suicidal, and that was before there was Snapchat and all of these other avenues for children to get lost on.
And essentially, I thought I was creating something that was going to help stomp out bullying. My passion behind it was well-intended, but it was totally naive and not something that now I know that I shouldn't have done.
Now you're probably asking yourself, Tree, how did this happen? How did we as conservatives let some crazy SJW infiltrate our side of the political spectrum?
So, okay, so you get this now about the media, right? But so what changed within you politically when you say you went from being a liberal to a conservative? Like, did you change on economics or on abortion or weed or gay marriage or?
You know, when I think back on it, I don't even know that I ever really was a liberal. I didn't care about politics.
Yeah.
So you have to think about this. I'm just a girl that was trying to pay back my student loans. I wasn't involved in politics. I didn't really know what being a liberal meant, what being a conservative meant. I think at the end of the day, I was always a conservative. I'm pretty rational. I'm very fact-based. In terms of, I will always value, like, you know, economics above, like, social issues and that sort of thing, as I understand that that should take a back seat, obviously. You don't want to become a third world country, you know.
For them to do that and be, you know, standing behind a feminist movement, and then I'm going to get my nails done. Which, first off, like, what's wrong with getting your nails done?
Yeah, exactly.
Bad people, and she literally started crying, and I was like, okay. I just got quiet because, to be honest with you, like, I am not very emotional, like, in that regard, like, you know. So I just, and when the emotions don't make sense to me, it's right. It has nothing to do with left or right. It has nothing to do, like I said, it doesn't see color. It's nothing to do with any of that stuff. Like, you know, like, for what it's worth, like, my boyfriend is a far right conservative. You know, you know what I mean? So that whole liberal agenda that they were trying to push, we were literally laughing about it. Like, oh, really? I'm just trying to, you know, uncover anybody who doesn't agree with what Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders. Like, what are you trying to push right now? Like, you really? I don't care. I just don't care.
By the way, I just want to apologize to everyone that I didn't give you guys a political answer, but I mean, that's my answer. I'm sticking to it.
Now that her Kickstarter was suspended because it violated the terms of service, in addition to being a horrible concept, Candace did what Candace does best. She played the victim.
And I was terrified sort of to be a person, because I got stuck to this story of a victim of a hate crime, and that wasn't really how I felt. I would have totally appreciated someone doing the old school, like, kids need to apologize face to face. Just my opportunities weren't great, but compared to the way my parents came up and the parents before them, you can't complain. You have to do what you can do and try to create a better future for your offspring. And I think that my parents did that, and it's my role to do that.
I couldn't bear to be around, you know, people that were constantly in this state of victimhood.
I got stuck to this story of a victim of a hate crime, and that wasn't really how I felt. I got stuck to this story of a victim of a hate crime, and that wasn't really how I felt.
She created this fictitious story about Zoe Quinn releasing her army of gamer gators, and this was the reason why her Kickstarter was suspended. So after having thousands upon thousands of people tweet to her how deluded and crazy she is, Candace deleted her Twitter handle @socialcoroner and created a new one @s_autopsy. Here's a screenshot of her lying about being fully funded to launch socialautopsy.com and that she'll be back with a vengeance. Soon after that, she deleted that Twitter profile and went underground to regroup.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, it really was a very scary thing to go through, and it was terrifying. And you have to remember, I was a private citizen then. So when media does hit piece on you and you're a private citizen, that can ruin your entire life. You know, you can't go out and get jobs anymore because they naturally believe whatever they read. It seems incredibly controversial, and people don't want to deal with controversy. So I literally took a year off to just kind of rebuild as a person. Like, wow. I was like shell-shocked. And I knew that I wanted to enter in, and I had to. I felt like it was incumbent upon me that I understood this, you know, this fascinating thing happened to me. I felt like it happened to me for a reason. So I wanted to sort of re-enter the market as someone who was more informed and who could potentially red pill other people.
Yeah.
5 months later, she resurfaced again on TED Talk's YouTube channel. The title to that video is The Truth About Your Activism. When I watched this video, I noticed something very odd. Yes, she was telling a different victim story, but nowhere in this lecture did she say anything about being red-pilled, nor does she claim to be a conservative. Everything she said in this video was spoken like a true SJW.
Have you ever noticed how issues seem to sweep through social media like hurricanes and then recede almost as quickly as they came? She was absolutely right, of course. I mean, I couldn't think of a single one of my friends who used that hashtag Pray for Paris beyond the first couple of days before they were on to the next social issue that required their immediate aggressive attention, because we need to know, is Tom Brady guilty of hashtag Deflategate? And I mean, are the hashtag Oscars so white?
But that wasn't a part of the video that I found odd. What I found suspect was the fact that she was talking to an empty auditorium. If you pause the video at the 15-minute time mark, you can see the empty chairs in front of her. I believe that this video was created to see if she could win back the support from the left. Since the results were still unfavorable, she went back underground to create Plan B. Candace Owens resurfaced 9 months later.
So I literally took a year off to just kind of rebuild as a person. Like, wow. I was like shell-shocked.
As a RedPillBlack, her first video was titled Mom, Dad, I'm a conservative. That's not suspect. That's not suspect at all. In all honesty, Candace's videos are a bunch of fluff. There's no substance to them whatsoever. If you compare her videos to videos of other black conservative YouTubers, you'll see a huge difference in the content. But here's where things go horribly wrong. Paul Joseph Watson is smitten with Candace and showcased her on his channel as a black woman who was forced to fan the red pill. This undoubtedly turned her from a liberal to a conservative. Forced to fan the red pill. When exactly this happened? Her Kickstarter was destroyed by liberals, and rightfully so. Back in April of last year, 2016, on May 11th, she said on Twitter that she's still a liberal. On October 20th of that same year, she appeared on stage in front of an empty audience playing a victim and giving SJW talking points. 9 months later, she's back on YouTube and says, I've been red pilled and now I'm a conservative. Now must you vet her. Now must you investigate her story. Now must you fact check her call. You let this brain affect this brain, and you allowed a SJW feminist to infiltrate the right-wingers' platform. Oh, but don't worry, he wasn't the only one who did this. After Paul Joseph Watson headlined her, Alex Jones had her on his show 4 times. Then Stephen Molyneux jumped in on the action. Next was Owen Schroeder, followed by Steven Crowder, who happily gave her a shout-out. Jesse Waters also invited her on his show, followed by Andrew Clavin, Dave Rubin, and then Ken Matthews. And the names are still piling on. Oh, and Mike Cernovic often brags on Twitter about being besties with Candace for over a year. Oh, that Mike. Can't put nothing past him. because these men have propped her as the conservatives' Black Madonna, she gained a lot of financial support from the conservatives. And we all know that when it comes to financial donations, no one gives as generously than us. And now she's this close to achieving the $75,000 she needed to launch her doxing website, all funded by right-wingers. How could these white men drop the ball and neglect to do a background check on Candace Owens?
Now, what's immensely frustrating for me is Candace is basically promoting herself as, I am a Black conservative woman, so I am this marginalized voice that does not agree with the social justice, political language and dialogue. Well, but even more so, if you need a strong Black female conservative, like there's Patty Politics, my buddy Patty. She's not a flip-flopper. She wasn't last year. But no, Candace, someone who has an entire infrastructure for promoting herself, an entire background system by which she knows how to inject herself into the public discussion, she's the one that's going to get the big promotion. Okay, well, that's a little weird to me, but I digress.
Why are you defending her like this? Why cover for her? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it relates to what I spoke about at the beginning of this video. Candace is useful to the right because she flies in the face of the liberal media's identity politics narratives, as we know. A Black conservative woman is something the mainstream media cannot handle.
Who to date has only made about 14 videos, and she's already blown up on YouTube. She's got over 147,000 subscribers already in the short amount of time she's been here on YouTube. She's been interviewed by Paul Joseph Watson, Steven Crowder, Stefan Molyneux, a Rubin Report, and a bunch of other people. People have been smitten by her attractiveness, her anti-SJW talking points, and the fact that she's a Black conservative, which is pretty rare.
A Black female conservative that's become a bit of a firebrand on YouTube, amassing in just a few months, we're talking 3 months, 147,000 subscribers. What she's got in 3 months took me like 5 years, which goes to show you what happens when you have the right backing.
I'll tell you how. Because she's Black, she's beautiful, she's charming, and she's a victim. Diamond and Silk have been on YouTube for 2 years. The Doctor of Common Sense is far from a victim, and he's been on YouTube since 2011. It took him 2 years before being invited as a guest on The Alex Jones Show. Anthony B. Logan, he started his channel 2 years ago, and after a year and a half, he was invited to appear on The Blaze with Tommy Lauren. And me? Well, I've been on YouTube for over a year.
I'd like to wrap this rant up with a message to all of the beta males who have allowed this era of radical feminism to strip them of their masculinity, like this guy. Yes, you do, sweetheart. Man up.